In the depths of space, a massive sleeper ship drifted silently through the void. Its hull, scarred by centuries of micrometeorite impacts, bore witness to the long journey it had undertaken. Inside, rows upon rows of cryopods lined the walls, each containing a human in deep slumber. These were the last remnants of humanity, fleeing a dying Earth in search of a new home among the stars. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Emergency lights bathed the corridors in an eerie red glow as the ship's AI initiated the awakening protocol. In one of the cryopods, Commander Sarah Chin's eyes snapped open. She gasped, her lungs burning as they filled with air for the first time in centuries. Disoriented and weak, she stumbled out of her pod, her muscles screaming in protest after their long disuse. As Sarah regained her bearings, she noticed other pods opening around her. Confused faces emerged, mirroring her own bewilderment. Among them was Dr. Marcus Reynolds, the ship's lead scientist, and Lieutenant Jack Harper, head of security. They exchanged worried glances as they realized something was terribly wrong. "Why are we awake?" Jack croaked, his voice hoarse from centuries of silence. "We can't have reached our destination yet." Before Sarah could respond, the ship's AI spoke through the intercom. "Attention crew of the Starship Hope. Emergency protocols have been activated due to an imminent threat. All senior staff report to the bridge immediately." Sarah's training kicked in, overriding her discomfort. "You heard it. Let's move," she ordered, leading the way to the bridge on unsteady legs. As they entered the command center, holographic displays flickered to life, revealing a terrifying sight. A massive alien fleet surrounded their ship, dwarfing it with their imposing size and otherworldly design. "What are we looking at?" Sarah demanded, her mind racing to comprehend the situation. The AI's calm voice belied the gravity of their predicament. Unknown alien vessels detected. They appeared suddenly using advanced faster-than-light technology. Initial scans indicate weaponry far beyond our capabilities. They are hailing us. Sarah squared her shoulders, pushing aside her fear. "Open a channel," she commanded. The main view screen crackled to life, revealing a being unlike anything they had ever seen. Its body seemed to shimmer and shift, as if not entirely solid. Multiple eyes blinked in unsettling patterns across what they assumed was its face. "Humans," the alien's voice reverberated through the ship, a cacophony of sounds that somehow formed words in their minds. "Your journey ends here. Your species has been deemed too dangerous to allow further expansion into the galaxy. Prepare for termination." A cold dread settled in Sarah's stomach, but she refused to show weakness. "We mean you no harm," she responded, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We're refugees seeking a new home. Surely we can come to an understanding." The aliens' laughter was a discordant melody that sent shivers down their spines. "Understanding. Your kind knows only destruction and conquest. We have observed your history, your wars, your insatiable appetite for resources. You will not infect the rest of the galaxy with your chaos." As if to emphasize the point, one of the alien ships fired a warning shot that rocked the Starship Hope. Alarms blared as systems struggled to compensate for the damage. "Shields at 60% from that single hit," Jack reported, his face grim. "We can't survive a full assault." Sarah's mind raced, searching for a solution. They were outgunned, outnumbered, and facing an enemy that had already decided their fate. But giving up wasn't an option. The last of humanity slept behind them, their lives hanging in the balance. "Dr. Reynolds," she turned to the scientist, desperation edging her voice. "Tell me you have something, anything we can use against them." Marcus's eyes lit up with a dangerous glint. "Well, Commander, we do have Project Phoenix. It's experimental, untested, but it might be our only chance." Sarah nodded, a spark of hope igniting in her chest. "Do it, whatever it takes to save our people." As Marcus rushed to initiate the mysterious Project Phoenix, Sarah turned back to the alien on screen. She straightened her back, channeling every ounce of determination and defiance she could muster. "You claim to know humanity's history. she spoke, her voice ringing with conviction. Then you should know this. We do not go quietly into the night. We fight, we adapt, we survive. And if you threaten our existence, you'll learn firsthand why the galaxy fears us. With that, she cut the transmission. The bridge crew looked at her with a mixture of fear and admiration. They all knew the odds were stacked against them. But in that moment, they were ready to face whatever came next. As the alien fleet moved into attack formation, Project Phoenix hummed to life deep within the ship. Humanity's last stand was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. Project Phoenix rising. As the alien armada closed in, the Starship Hope trembled with the activation of Project Phoenix. Deep within the vessel's core, experimental machinery whirred to life, its purpose known only to a select few. Dr. Marcus Reynolds' fingers flew across holographic interfaces, initiating sequences he had only ever run in simulations. Project Phoenix is online, he announced, his voice tight with tension. But Commander, you need to understand. This technology, it's not just a weapon. It's something more. Sarah raised an eyebrow, urging him to continue as the ship shuddered under another barrage from the alien fleet. Marcus took a deep breath. Project Phoenix is a quantum entanglement device. In theory, it can link our ship's systems with parallel versions of ourselves across multiple realities. We could potentially draw upon the knowledge and technology of countless alternate Earths. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Jack was the first to speak up. You're saying we could get help from other versions of ourselves. Versions that might have defeated these aliens. Precisely, Marcus nodded. But it's wildly unstable. We have no idea what kinds of realities we might connect to, or what the consequences might be. Sarah's mind raced, weighing the risks against their dire situation. Another blast rocked the ship, and her decision crystallized. Do it, she ordered. Full power to Project Phoenix. As Marcus initiated the final sequence, reality itself seemed to waver. The air shimmered with ethereal energy, and for a moment, everyone on the bridge felt as if they were in multiple places at once. Suddenly, Sarah's mind exploded with information. Memories that weren't hers flooded her consciousness, battles won and lost, technologies beyond her wildest dreams, and strategies honed across 1,000 lifetimes. She wasn't alone. All around the bridge, crew members gasped and stumbled as they were inundated with knowledge from their alternate selves. Jack's eyes widened as combat techniques from countless wars downloaded directly into his muscle memory. The weapons officer, Lieutenant Zara Vega, suddenly understood alien weapon systems she had never seen before. Status report. Sarah commanded, fighting through the disorientation. Shields reconfiguring, Zara responded, her fingers dancing across her console with newfound expertise. I'm implementing defense algorithms from at least a dozen realities. Our protection just increased tenfold. Jack grinned fiercely. Weapons systems online. We've got antimatter torpedoes, graviton beams, and is that a black hole gun? Oh, this is going to be fun. Sarah felt a smile tugging at her lips despite the gravity of the situation. For the first time since awakening, they had a fighting chance. She opened a channel to the alien fleet. Attention alien vessels. This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Starship Hope. I strongly advise you to reconsider your actions. We are now capable of defending ourselves, and we will not hesitate to do so. The alien leader's response was immediate and dismissive. Your primitive deceptions do not fool us, human. Your destruction is inevitable. The transmission cut off abruptly as Sarah gave the order to fire. A barrage of weaponry the likes of which humanity had never wielded erupted from the Starship Hope. Antimatter torpedoes phased through alien shields as if they weren't there. Graviton beams warped space-time around enemy vessels, crushing them like tin cans. The alien fleet, caught completely off guard, scrambled to regroup. Their return fire, once devastating, now splashed harmlessly against the Hope's reconfigured shields. As the battle raged, Sarah felt a strange doubling of her senses. She could see the current fight, but overlaid on that were ghostly images of similar battles from other realities. In one, diplomacy had prevailed. In another, the aliens had been longtime allies. The multiverse was a tapestry of possibilities, and they were drawing upon them all. "Commander," Marcus called out, his voice strained. "The quantum entanglement is becoming unstable. We can't maintain these connections for long." Sarah nodded, understanding the danger. They needed to end this quickly. Drawing upon the strategic knowledge of her alternate selves, she formulated a plan. "Zara, target their flagship with the black hole gun. Jack, prepare a boarding party. We're going to end this war before it begins." As Zara took aim, Sarah felt a moment of hesitation. The power they now wielded was immense, perhaps too much for any one species to possess, but the lives of everyone in cryosleep behind her depended on her decision. "Fire," she commanded. A beam of utter darkness lanced out from the Starship Hope, striking the alien flagship. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, space itself began to warp around the massive vessel. The singularity grew, pulling in nearby ships as the alien fleet descended into chaos. Seizing the moment, Sarah led the boarding party, their minds now filled with knowledge of alien biology and technology. They moved through the flagship with preternatural skill, disabling systems and subduing resistance with ease. Within minutes, Sarah stood face to face with the alien leader in their command center. The being's multiple eyes widened in what she now recognized as fear. "Impossible," it murmured. "What are you?" Sarah's voice was steel as she responded. "We are humanity. We are survivors, explorers, and when pushed, warriors unlike any you've encountered. But we can also be allies, if you choose to see reason." As the alien leader considered her words, Sarah felt the strain of maintaining their quantum connections. They were running out of time, and the fate of two species hung in the balance. The next few moments would determine whether this encounter ended in annihilation or the beginning of an unprecedented galactic alliance. The weight of infinite knowledge. The alien leader's shifting form seemed to ripple with indecision as it faced Commander Sarah Chen. Around them, the flagship's alarms blared, a cacophony of alien sounds that Sarah's newly enhanced mind could now decipher. They spoke of critical systems failing, of a fleet in disarray, and of an impossible human threat. "You offer alliance." The alien's voice resonated in Sarah's mind, a mixture of disbelief and cautious hope. "After we threatened your extinction." Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of countless alternate selves guiding her words. "We've seen futures where we fight, where this conflict spreads across the galaxy like a cancer. But we've also seen futures of cooperation, of shared knowledge that elevates both our species. The choice is yours." As she spoke, Sarah fought to maintain her composure. The influx of information from Project Phoenix was becoming overwhelming. Millions of possible futures flashed before her eyes, timelines branching and colliding in a dizzying fractal pattern. On the Starship Hope, Dr. Marcus Reynolds watched his monitors with growing alarm. "Commander," he called over the comm, "the quantum entanglement is reaching critical levels. Our connection to the multiverse is becoming unstable. We need to disengage soon, or we risk the total collapse of our reality." Sarah acknowledged the warning, knowing their time was short. She fixed her gaze on the alien leader, willing it to understand the gravity of the moment. The being's form settled, taking on a more solid appearance. "You wield power beyond our comprehension," it admitted. "Yet you offer peace instead of destruction. Perhaps we were too hasty in our judgment of your species." A surge of relief washed over Sarah, but she tempered it with caution. "Then let's end this conflict," she proposed. "We'll withdraw our forces, and you'll allow our ship safe passage. In return, we offer to share some of our knowledge. Nothing that could be used as a weapon, but innovations that could benefit both our peoples." The alien leader considered for a moment, its multiple eyes blinking in an intricate pattern. Finally, it extended a limb in what Sarah recognized as a gesture of agreement. We accept your terms, humans. Let this be the beginning of understanding between our kinds. As Sarah reached out to seal the accord, a searing pain lanced through her head. The quantum connections were starting to break down, threatening to tear her consciousness apart. Marcus, she gasped into her comm. Shut it down. Shut down Project Phoenix now. Back on the Hope, Marcus worked feverishly to disengage the quantum entanglement device. It's not responding to the shutdown sequence, he reported, panic edging into his voice. The connections have become self-sustaining. Sarah stumbled, her vision blurring as realities began to bleed into one another. She saw versions of herself dying in countless battles, others living lives of peace on distant worlds, and some evolving into beings of pure energy. The human mind was never meant to process this much information, to bear the weight of infinite knowledge. The alien leader, sensing her distress, reached out with its mind. Your power is killing you, it observed. Let us help. Our species has dabbled in manipulating the fabric of reality. Perhaps together, we can stabilize your condition. Fighting through the pain, Sarah nodded her assent. The alien's consciousness brushed against hers, and suddenly she wasn't alone in the maelstrom of colliding realities. The alien's mind acted as an anchor, helping her navigate the quantum storm. Together, they reached out to the Project Phoenix device, their combined will imposing order on the chaos. Slowly, painstakingly, they began to close the connections to alternate realities. On the Hope, Marcus watched in awe as the readings began to stabilize. It's working, he breathed. The quantum field is collapsing back to normal parameters. As the last connection severed, Sarah felt a profound sense of loss. The infinite knowledge that had flooded her mind began to fade, leaving behind only fragments and echoes. But with that loss came relief, the pain subsiding as her consciousness settled back into a single reality. She opened her eyes to find herself back on the bridge of the Starship Hope, surrounded by her equally disoriented crew. The alien fleet hung motionless in space before them, no longer a threat but a potential ally. Status report, Sarah croaked, her throat dry from the ordeal. Jack was the first to respond, shaking his head as if to clear it. All alien hostilities have ceased. They're hailing us, Commander. Sarah straightened, composing herself. On screen, she ordered. The alien leader appeared, its form now stable and almost regal. Commander Chen, it addressed her, its mental voice tinged with respect. We have much to discuss. Your bravery and wisdom have opened our eyes to new possibilities. We would be honored to escort your ship to a nearby habitable world, one where both our species might coexist and learn from each other. A tired smile crossed Sarah's face. We accept your offer with gratitude, she responded. Let this be the first step towards a lasting peace. As the transmission ended, Sarah turned to her crew. Their faces showed a mixture of exhaustion, relief, and lingering awe at what they had experienced. Well done, all of you, she commended them. We've not only saved ourselves but potentially changed the course of galactic history. But our journey isn't over. We have thousands of people still in cryo sleep, counting on us to find them a home. And now we have a lot of new neighbors to get to know. As the Starship Hope fell into formation with the alien fleet, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. They had faced extinction and emerged not just survivors, but pioneers of a new era. The universe, it seemed, was full of terrors, but also wonders beyond imagination. And humanity, adaptable and resilient as ever, was ready to face it all. New horizons. The journey to the promised habitable world was a tense affair. Despite the newfound alliance, an undercurrent of wariness permeated both the human and alien crews. The Starship Hope glided through the star-studded void, flanked by the towering alien vessels that had, mere hours ago, been intent on their destruction. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the helm, her eyes fixed on the swirling holographic star charts before her. The fragments of knowledge left behind by Project Phoenix flickered through her mind like half-remembered dreams, tantalizing glimpses of paths not taken and futures unrealized. "Penny for your thoughts, Commander." Dr. Marcus Reynolds approached, his usual excited demeanor tempered by exhaustion. Sarah smiled wryly. "I'm not sure my thoughts are worth even that much right now, Marcus. I can't shake the feeling that we've opened Pandora's box with Project Phoenix." Marcus nodded, understanding etched on his face. The quantum entanglement device was never meant to be used like that. The amount of data we accessed, it's unprecedented. We'll be analyzing the results for years. If we're allowed to, Sarah mused. Our new friends might have something to say about that. As if on cue, the ship's AI announced an incoming transmission from the alien flagship. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing the now familiar form of the alien leader. "Commander Chen," it greeted, its mental voice resonating with a mix of emotions Sarah was still learning to decipher. "We are approaching the sanctuary system. There is much we must discuss before we arrive." Sarah straightened, her command persona sliding into place. "Agreed. What do you propose?" "A meeting," the alien responded. "Not just through these artificial interfaces, but in person. There is an atmospheric compatibility in one of our liaison chambers. We request your presence, along with your key advisors." Sarah exchanged glances with Marcus and Jack, seeing her own mixture of curiosity and apprehension mirrored in their eyes. "We accept," she said finally. "Transmit the atmospheric specifications, and we'll prepare accordingly." As the transmission ended, the bridge erupted into a flurry of activity. Environmental suits were prepared, security protocols established, and last-minute briefings conducted. Through it all, Sarah felt a growing sense of anticipation. They were about to become the first humans to set foot on an alien vessel, willingly, at least. Hours later, Sarah led a small delegation through the airlock connecting the Hope to the alien flagship. The liaison chamber beyond was a marvel of organic architecture, with walls that seemed to pulse with life and atmospheric regulators that looked more like exotic plants than machinery. The alien leader awaited them, flanked by what Sarah assumed were its own advisors. Up close, the beings were even more otherworldly, their forms shimmering with bioluminescence, appendages moving in ways that defied terrestrial physics. "Welcome, humans," the leader's mental voice washed over them. "We are the Skurith. For eons, we have been the custodians of this sector of the galaxy, protecting it from species we deemed unstable." Sarah nodded, choosing her words carefully. "We understand your caution. Humanity's history is not without its dark chapters. But we've also grown, learned from our mistakes. We seek not to conquer, but to coexist." The Skrith leader's form rippled in what Sarah interpreted as acknowledgement. "Your actions have proven the truth of your words. The power you wielded through your Project Phoenix, it could have destroyed us all. Instead, you chose restraint, diplomacy. A choice we don't regret," Sarah affirmed. "But now we must look to the future. You spoke of a sanctuary system." "Yes," the alien confirmed. "A star system with multiple habitable worlds, each tailored to different environmental needs. It has long been a haven for species in transition, those seeking a fresh start. We offer you a place there, to establish your colony, and grow alongside other races under our protection." The implications were staggering. Sarah's mind raced with the possibilities, and the potential pitfalls, and the conditions of this offer. She probed. The Skurith's multiple eyes blinked in a complex pattern. "An exchange of knowledge. Controlled, of course. We are intensely curious about your quantum entanglement technology. In return, we offer insights into faster-than-light travel, renewable energy sources, and medical advancements beyond your current understanding." Jack, ever the security officer, stepped forward. "And military technology. What's to stop you from using our innovations against us or other species?" The alien's form shimmered with what might have been amusement, an understandable concern. "We propose a treaty, a pact of non-aggression and mutual defense. Any military applications of shared technology would be jointly developed and overseen." As the negotiations continued, Sarah felt a growing sense of optimism. The path ahead was fraught with challenges, but also brimming with potential. Humanity, on the brink of extinction, now stood on the threshold of a galactic community. Hours later, as they prepared to return to the Hope, the Skrith leader approached Sarah privately. "There is one more thing, Commander," it communicated, its mental voice tinged with solemnity. "The echoes of your quantum journey, they linger. In time, you may find that your brush with infinite knowledge has left you changed. We can help you navigate this, if you wish." Sarah absorbed this revelation, a mix of trepidation and curiosity washing over her. "Thank you," she responded. "I have a feeling we'll need all the help we can get." As they re-entered the Hope, Sarah gazed out at the starfield beyond. Somewhere out there lay their new home, and a future filled with wonders and challenges beyond imagination. Humanity had awoken from its long Cryo sleep to find a galaxy both more terrifying and more marvelous than they had ever dreamed. And they were ready to face it, armed with resilience, adaptability, and newfound allies. The next chapter of human history was about to unfold among the stars. Echoes of infinity. The sanctuary system loomed before the starship Hope, a cosmic tapestry of swirling gases and gleaming planets. Commander Sarah Chen stood transfixed by the sight, her mind awash with a mixture of awe and trepidation. As the ship approached the third planet, their designated new home, she couldn't shake the feeling that something fundamental had changed within her. "Magnificent, isn't it?" Dr. Marcus Reynolds remarked, joining her at the observation deck. "Initial scans show the planet is even more suitable for human habitation than we'd hoped. It's almost too good to be true." Sarah nodded absently, her focus split between the breathtaking view and the strange sensations flickering through her consciousness. "Marcus," she began hesitantly, "have you noticed anything unusual since our encounter with Project Phoenix?" The scientist's expression turned serious. "You mean besides the lingering fragments of advanced scientific knowledge that I can barely comprehend?" "No, nothing unusual at all," he quipped, then sobered. "But in all seriousness, yes. It's as if my mind is trying to process information that it was never designed to handle." "Why do you ask?" Before Sarah could respond, a searing pain lanced through her head. The observation deck seemed to warp around her, reality flickering like a faulty hologram. For a brief, terrifying moment, she saw not just the sanctuary system, but countless variations of it, worlds where the planets were arranged differently, where alien civilizations thrived or lay in ruins, where humanity had arrived centuries earlier or had never come at all. "Commander," Marcus's alarmed voice cut through the visions, anchoring her back to reality. Sarah found herself on her knees, the scientist's steadying hand on her shoulder. "What happened? Should I call medical?" Sarah shook her head, struggling to her feet. "No, I'm fine. It's just the echoes. The Skrith leader warned me this might happen. I think our brush with quantum entanglement left more of a mark than we realized." A look of fascination mixed with concern crossed Marcus's face. "Fascinating. It seems the human mind wasn't meant to process infinite realities. We should run some tests, try to understand." Commander Chen to the bridge immediately. The ship's AI interrupted, its usually calm voice tinged with urgency. "We have a situation." Exchanging worried glances, Sarah and Marcus rushed to the bridge. They arrived to find barely controlled chaos. Holographic displays flickered with warnings, and the crew worked feverishly at their stations. "Report," Sarah ordered, slipping into her command role despite the lingering disorientation. Lieutenant Jack Harper looked up from his security console, his face grim. "We've detected anomalies in the planet's atmosphere, Commander. They appear to be, well, holes in reality." "Impossible," Marcus breathed, but even as he spoke, the main view screen showed the evidence. Shimmering rifts hung in the planet's sky, each a window into another version of their world. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "It's Project Phoenix," she realized. Somehow, our use of the quantum entanglement device has destabilized this region of spacetime. As if in confirmation, one of the rifts pulsed, and a structure unlike anything they'd seen before phased into existence on the planet's surface. It was a city, but one that seemed to flicker between states of advanced technology and primordial ruin. "We're receiving a transmission from the Skurith flagship," Zara announced from her communication station. The alien leader's form materialized on screen, its usual shimmer now a chaotic swirl of agitation. "Humans, what have you done?" Its mental voice boomed, a mixture of accusation and fear. "The sanctuary system is collapsing into a quantum flux state. Realities are bleeding into one another." Sarah stepped forward, her mind racing. "This wasn't intentional," she assured the Skurith. "But I think I know what's happening. When we used Project Phoenix, we didn't just access other realities. We created a quantum entanglement between them. Now that entanglement is spreading, causing realities to merge." The alien's form rippled with what might have been a sigh. "We feared something like this might occur. The power you wielded was beyond even our understanding. We must act quickly to contain the spread before it engulfs the entire galaxy." As they spoke, more anomalies appeared. Ships from other realities began to phase into existence, some alien, some disturbingly familiar variations of their own vessel. Sarah watched in horror as one version of the Starship Hope, battle-scared and weapons blazing, opened fire on a Skurith cruiser. "We need to shut this down," Sarah declared. "Marcus, is there any way to reverse the quantum entanglement?" The scientist's fingers flew over his console. "Theoretically, yes. If we could generate an inverse quantum field, we might be able to cancel out the entanglement. But the power requirements would be enormous, and we'd need to be at the center of the anomaly." Sarah's mind raced, fragments of knowledge from countless realities coalescing into a plan. "The Skurith have the power sources we need. If we combine their technology with our quantum expertise." She turned to the alien leader, still on screen. "We have a plan, but we'll need your help. Together, we might be able to stop this before it's too late." The Skurith's form stabilized, resolve apparent in its stance. "We will assist. The fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance." As the crew of the Hope scrambled to prepare for their desperate mission, Sarah gazed out at the fracturing reality before them. The lines between possibility and actuality were blurring, and she knew that the next few hours would determine not just the future of humanity, but the very fabric of existence itself. With a deep breath, she gave the order to begin. The Starship Hope, accompanied by its Skurith allies, plunged towards the heart of the quantum storm, racing against time to save not just one reality, but all of them. The quantum crucible. The Starship Hope plunged through the atmosphere of the fractured world, its hull groaning under the strain of conflicting physical laws. Around them, reality itself seemed to be tearing apart. Ghostly cities from 1,000 different futures phased in and out of existence, while alien landscapes blended seamlessly with familiar terrestrial vistas. In the ship's makeshift laboratory, Commander Sarah Chen watched as Dr. Marcus Reynolds and a team of Skurith scientists worked feverishly to modify Project Phoenix. The device, once a beacon of hope for humanity's survival, now held the key to saving the entire multiverse. "How much longer?" Sarah asked, her voice tense. Marcus looked up from his work, fatigue etched on his face. "We're close, but the calculations are incredibly complex. We're not just dealing with our reality anymore, but an infinite number of them." One of the Skurith, its form a constantly shifting mass of tentacles and crystalline structures, communicated directly into their minds. "The quantum flux is accelerating. We estimate total reality collapse within 3 hours if we cannot stabilize the field." Sarah nodded grimly. "Then we'd better work faster." Suddenly, the ship lurched violently, nearly throwing them off their feet. Sarah rushed to the nearest viewport and gasped at the sight. The Hope was now flying through a patchwork sky, each section a window into a different version of their world. In one patch, A gleaming utopia of impossible architecture stretched as far as the eye could see. In another, a blasted wasteland spoke of apocalyptic war. "Commander," Lieutenant Jack Harper's voice crackled over the comm. "We've got company." Sarah sprinted to the bridge, her mind reeling from the quantum echoes that assaulted her senses with each step. As she arrived, she saw what had alarmed Jack. A fleet of ships had appeared around them, but these were no ordinary vessels. Each one seemed to be a different version of the Starship Hope, some sleek and advanced, others battered and crude. "They're hailing us," Zara reported from her station, her voice filled with disbelief. "All of them." "On screen," Sarah ordered, bracing herself. The view screen flickered to life, splitting into multiple sections. Sarah found herself staring at a dozen different versions of herself, each one a Commander Chen from a different reality. Some wore uniforms she recognized, others bore the insignia of unknown factions. One version of her seemed more machine than human, cybernetic implants glinting in the low light. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Starship Hope," Sarah addressed her counterparts, fighting to keep her voice steady. "We're attempting to stabilize the quantum flux and prevent total reality collapse. We need your help." The responses were a cacophony of agreement, suspicion, and outright hostility. Some versions of herself immediately pledged support, while others demanded proof or threatened attack. The cyborg Sarah leaned forward, her metallic voice cutting through the chaos. "In my reality, we faced this crisis a century ago. The solution nearly destroyed us, but it worked. I can transmit the data to you." Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Massive energy surge detected. Jack shouted, "Something's coming through." The sky seemed to split open, and from the rift emerged a colossal entity. It defied description, its form constantly shifting between states of matter and energy. Tendrils of pure possibility whipped around it, erasing or rewriting anything they touched. By the void, the Skrith scientist's mental voice trembled. "It's a quantum leviathan, a being that exists between realities, feeding on the energy of collapsing timelines." The creature's attention focused on the assembled ships, and Sarah felt a sense of hunger that transcended physical understanding. This entity saw them not as living beings, but as nexus points of delicious quantum potential. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," Sarah ordered, both to her crew and to her alternate selves. As the fleet scattered, narrowly avoiding the Leviathan's grasp, she turned to the Skrith scientist. "Can we use this to our advantage? If that thing is drawn to quantum energy." The alien's form pulsed with sudden understanding. "Yes. If we could lure it to the heart of the anomaly, its very nature might help stabilize the flux." Sarah's mind raced, piecing together a plan from fragments of knowledge across realities. "Marcus," she called over the comm, "we need to turn Project Phoenix into a quantum beacon. Can you do it?" "Already on it," came the scientist's trained reply. "But Commander, whoever activates the beacon will be at the center of the quantum event. The chances of survival." "I know," Sarah cut him off. "I'll do it." As the crew scrambled to implement the desperate plan, Sarah took a moment to address her alternate selves. "We have one shot at this," she told them. "I need you to keep that thing occupied while we get into position. Can I count on you?" The responses came in a unified chorus of affirmation. Whatever differences existed between their realities in this moment, they were united in purpose. The next few minutes were a blur of frantic action. The alternate hopes engaged the quantum leviathan in a dizzying battle across fractured space-time, while Sarah's ship dove towards the heart of the anomaly. Reality buckled and warped around them, the laws of physics stretching to their breaking point. Finally, they reached the epicenter. Sarah stood before the modified Project Phoenix, her hand hovering over the activation switch. In that moment, she saw not just her own timeline, but the infinite branches of possibility stretching out before her. The weight of all existence pressed down upon her shoulders. With a deep breath, Sarah Chen prepared to sacrifice herself to save not just her reality, but all realities. As her hand descended towards the switch, the universe seemed to hold its breath, teetering on the edge of oblivion or salvation. Rebirth of reality. As Commander Sarah Chen's hand hovered over the activation switch of the modified Project Phoenix, time seemed to stretch into infinity. In that suspended moment, she saw not just her own life flashing before her eyes, but the lives of countless other Sarah Chens across the multiverse. She felt their triumphs, their failures, their hopes and fears, all converging on this singular point in space and time. With a deep breath, she pressed the switch. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. A pulse of pure quantum energy erupted from the device, engulfing Sarah in a maelstrom of light and possibility. She felt her consciousness expand, merging with her alternate selves, becoming a singular entity spread across all of reality. Outside the ship, the quantum Leviathan sensed the surge of energy and turned its unfathomable attention towards the starship Hope. It lunged forward, its form warping and stretching as it phased through the barriers between realities. Now, Sarah's voice echoed across all frequencies, heard by every version of her crew and their allies. All ships, concentrate your fire on the Leviathan. Guide it towards us. The space around them erupted in a dazzling display of weaponry from 1,000 different timelines. Antimatter beams crossed paths with gravity lenses, while chronoton torpedoes exploded in bursts of localized time distortions. The Leviathan writhed under the assault, drawn inexorably towards the quantum beacon. As the creature approached, Sarah felt her expanded consciousness touch its alien mind. She reeled from the contact, overwhelmed by an awareness that spanned eons and dimensions beyond human comprehension. But in that touch, she also sensed a fundamental truth. The Leviathan was as much a part of the cosmic order as they were. With this realization came an idea, born from the collective knowledge of infinite Sarahs. We don't need to destroy it, she communicated to all. We need to make it a part of the solution. Using her newfound connection to the quantum field, Sarah reached out to the Leviathan's consciousness. She showed it the beauty of a stable multiverse, the infinite diversity of life and possibility that would be lost if reality collapsed. And she offered it a new purpose, to become the linchpin that would hold the fracturing timelines together. For a moment that contained eternity, the Leviathan considered. Then, with a psychic roar that shook the foundations of reality, it accepted. The creature plunged into the heart of the quantum storm, its body acting as a living conduit for the energies tearing reality apart. Sarah felt herself being pulled along, her consciousness stretched to the very limits of existence. Together, human and cosmic entity worked to reweave the fabric of the multiverse. Slowly, painstakingly, the fractured realities began to stabilize. The patchwork sky above the planet smoothed out, the conflicting landscapes settling into a single coherent world. The alternate versions of the starship Hope flickered and faded, returning to their own timelines. On the bridge of her ship, Dr. Marcus Reynolds watched in awe as readings stabilized across all instruments. It's working, he breathed. The quantum flux is collapsing back into normal parameters. As the last rifts sealed themselves, a final pulse of energy washed over the starship Hope. In the makeshift lab, the modified Project Phoenix sparked and went dark, its purpose fulfilled. For a moment, all was silent. Then, a figure began to coalesce in the center of the room. It was Sarah, but not as they had known her. Her form shimmered with residual quantum energy, her eyes holding the wisdom of 1,000 lifetimes. Commander. Marcus approached cautiously, hope and fear warring in his voice. Sarah smiled, her expression one of profound peace. It's me, Marcus. Or rather, all of me. Every Sarah Chen that ever was or could be, distilled into one. As the crew gathered around her, Sarah felt the last echoes of her expanded consciousness settling into a new equilibrium. She retained the knowledge and experiences of her alternate selves, but the overwhelming sensory input had faded to a manageable level. The ship's comm system crackled to life, and the Skrith leader's mental voice filled the room. Humans, you have done the impossible. The sanctuary system is stable, and our long-range scans show the quantum disturbances have ceased across the galaxy. You have saved not just your reality, but all realities." Sarah nodded, a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration washing over her. "We couldn't have done it without your help," she responded. "And now, I think we have a lot to talk about regarding the future." As the immediate crisis passed, Sarah turned her attention to the viewport. The planet below, once a fractured amalgam of possibilities, now shone as a pristine jewel against the velvet backdrop of space. It was a world born from the convergence of infinite potential, a perfect home for a humanity ready to take its place among the stars. "Well," Sarah addressed her crew, a hint of her old wry humor returning, "I'd say we've earned our place in this sanctuary system. What do you say we make landfall and start building our new home?" A cheer went up from the crew, the fear and tension of their ordeal giving way to hope and excitement for the future. As preparations for landing began, Sarah took a moment to reflect on the incredible journey that had brought them to this point. They had awoken from cryosleep to face annihilation, only to become the saviors of the multiverse. Humanity had proven its worth not through conquest or destruction, but through resilience, adaptability, and a willingness to reach out to the unknown. The galaxy that had once sought to destroy them now welcomed them as equals. As the Starship Hope began its descent towards their new home, Sarah Chen, once a simple commander, now a nexus of human potential, looked to the horizon with a sense of boundless possibility. The next chapter of human history was about to begin, and she couldn't wait to see what wonders it would bring.